I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Mack-a-magob, it's time for the only news that matters, and Gene Simmons recalls giving Geddy Lee a bass lesson after learning he didn't know a blues scale. Rush's Geddy Lee is considered one of the greats in music, but as Gene Simmons revealed during a recent chat with UltimateGuitar.com, not everyone approaches music in the same manner. In fact, Simmons says he once offered an impromptu lesson to Lee upon learning they were not on the same page during a jam session after a show. In speaking as part of a large discussion about how to teach people to play as someone who himself admits he can't read or write music, Simmons started discussing some of the legends who weren't able to either, such as John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Jimi Hendrix, and Buddy Rich. That's when his attention turned to sharing the Geddy Lee anecdote. I was telling you a story. Kiss took out Rush on the first tour, recalls Simmons. They came out to support us, because we liked what they did. And this was in the working man period when they sounded kind of like a Canadian Zeppelin, which I still prefer sound-wise, but otherwise, they'd done very well, and we used to hang out with guys and joke around and everything. One night back at the hotel or backstage someplace, Geddy Lee and I were sitting down trading licks, and I said, "Do you want to do a blues scale? You go first, and then I'll continue the chord pattern." And he said, "I don't know what you mean." At least from what I recall, Geddy didn't understand what a blues scale was or what 1-4-5 meant. That also bears noting that when you go 1-4-5 to a musician, that means something. It's a relationship of notes or chords, explained Simmons. So I go, well, okay, then you hit a G, either octave or low. And he said, "Which one is that?" Geddy played purely by ear. Now, of course, later on, he learned when the notes were and stuff like that, revealed the Kiss bassist. Look, I'm not really saying this didn't happen. Maybe there was a situation where Gene said, "No, play the blues scale like this," and Geddy didn't know. But I guarantee you Geddy got it in like a millisecond. Much faster than how Gene learned it. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think Gene's a bad bass player. A lot of people say he is a bad bass player. I think he's very underrated. What he did on those early Kiss albums, he's a great bass player. But not a pimple on the ass of Geddy Lee. Geddy Lee is a whole nother level of bass playing. So, remember when Gene also brought up the fact that Geddy Lee wouldn't last 10 seconds on stage wearing all the shit that Gene wears on stage? I don't know, man. I look at Geddy Lee, he looks more fit to me than Gene. I think he can last longer in that outfit that Gene can. Why does he keep bringing up Geddy Lee? I guess because he knows the rest of the planet knows that Geddy Lee is such a superior bass player that Gene Simmons figured, let me say in an interview how he showed him a blues chord so everybody can go crazy, because that's what Gene does. He says stuff like this because it'll get people talking. Look, it got me talking. I'm doing the only news that matters segment out of this. So, of course, it works. I'm giving Gene publicity. And, but, he knows. Geddy Lee blows him away on bass. Not even close. But he figured out, you know what, Rush fans? I showed Geddy Lee how to do the blues chord. Now talk about me. Fetch. And I did. I fetched, and here's the bone. So basically, an inferior bass player showed a superior bass player the blues chord, is basically what this whole thing's about. All right, and I will end it with this. Next week, Kiss is going to have a press conference for the Hey, We Didn't Go Down That Road tour. And but they're having a lot of problems with the people that are getting them food at the shows. So they fired the guy, and now they got Tommy Thayer back. So Tommy Thayer is back to getting the band food and also cleaning their driveways and stuff. And they now got Jimmy Page as Fake Fraley. This will be interesting. Anyway, that's it for the news that matters. And the only news that matters, even when it's fake news like this one. And I want to thank you all for watching. If you like donate, I got a PayPal in the description below. And please subscribe to my channel if you have not. So, stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath. And please like this video for the YouTube aneurysms. And schmack-a-magob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain.